This comparative study will cover to what extent psychological horror films differ from geographical and historical contexts. The two films that will be examined are Satoshi Kon's 1997 Perfect Blue and Nicholas Winding Refn's 2016 The Neon Demon. The film focus is the genre psychological horror, which focuses on the mental, emotional, and psychological states of a human being, often deconstructing their situations to frighten, disturb, or unsettle the audience. The justification for why these two films are worthy of study is they both represent how working in show business demonstrates one losing their mental state of mind. In The Neon Demon, Jessie wants to make it big in the fashion industry, but gains a narcissistic persona as her career takes off as a model. While in Perfect Blue, Mima quits being a pop idol to achieve an acting career. She develops paranoia and psychosis during this, due to a stalker, and she suffers from an identity crisis. The films show that being in that type of environment is not all glamorous as it seems. Despite both films being different for geographical and historical reasons, they are similar socially. One element of psychological horror is the protagonist's descent into madness. In a narrative sense, the films are comparable in that both female protagonists are young and want to make it big in show business. Both start off as very naive and a little clueless going into their jobs. Due to their naiveness, both girls don't realize that the biggest threats or antagonists to them are the people surrounding them. Both follow the ultimate climax of the psychological horror genre, where the protagonist eventually loses it and becomes mentally insane due to their psychological fears. In this case, Jessie becomes self-obsessed because she now believes her beauty is more important than anything. Afraid that her career will no longer exist if she is not beautiful. She believes how everyone wants to be her because they worship her beauty, while Mima obtains paranoia from the stalker, continuing to harass her online and at her workplace, and psychosis by being unable to differentiate what's actually real and unreal between her working as an actress and her seeing hallucinations of her pop idol self. The scenes from both films I will be first examining have corresponding use of mise-en-scène, particularly the color red displaying their insanity increasing. After the fashion show, Jessie imagines herself in a room all by herself with mirrors. The scene starts off blue to show Jessie's gentleness, but it changes to the color red, showing how Jessie's mental well-being is affected and begins to develop narcissism. While the background starts off having dark, low-key lighting, the lighting hitting Jessie is bright red, with the background changing to the same red color, representing vanity and evil that she's developing. Whereas in Perfect Blue, after having to film a rape scene, Mima has a breakdown and trashes her room. The color of her room is red. The red hints that there is danger lurking for her and conveys the beginning of Mima losing her mental state of mind. She's upset because she didn't want to do that scene, but she had no other choice. This relates to social context, because it reveals the shift in identity for both female protagonists, as well as their down spiral. This proves Jessie is no longer the kind and innocent person before, but becoming corrupted by the modeling industry after the success of getting chosen to close the fashion show. Mima starts to question her decision about switching from a singing career to an acting career after she sees a hallucination of pop idol Mima in the mirror telling her, "Is that the job you really wanted?" Another element commonly used in psychological horror movies is mind screw. Mind screws are used to confuse the audience so they aren't able to understand what's really happening. The two movies have different techniques on representing mind screws. The Neon Demon relies on cinematography and makeup to utilize this technique. In contrast, Perfect Blue relies on fast editing to blur the lines between reality and fiction. The opening scene of The Neon Demon, there is a full shot of Jessie lying down on a couch, where blood is dripping from her neck and showing a blank face. When seeing the blood drip down, this makes audiences believe that Jessie's throat was slashed by someone. The shot quickly switches to a close-up framing of Jessie while a photographer is taking a picture of her. His facial expression gives off the feeling that he's taking pictures of a crime scene. The camera frames remain still and static until the camera dollies outward to a wide shot to reveal that this is just a photo shoot. Jessie is not actually dead. The geographical context is that the film takes place in Los Angeles, California, which is synonymous with the entertainment industry. Jessie is able to get a gig because she's young and beautiful, and the industry loves finding people who are a new face. The film depicts LA in a negative way, because everyone in this movie is snooty or only cares about their looks. The mind screw trick that Perfect Blue uses is blurring the lines between reality and fiction. This scene in Perfect Blue, when a photographer who Mima previously worked with gets stabbed in the eye by a pizza delivery guy. After he stabs the photographer's hand, the scene cuts to him slashing the photographer while the TV is still playing, showing a man on the floor covered in blood. The pizza guy's hat falls off, revealing Mima is the one murdering the photographer. At the same time, television Mima shows up as a parallel to this. It cuts back and forth to pop-ups of Mima's nude photos and her killing him, showing that Mima is angry that he sexualized her. After it fades to white with Mima waking up. The audience is meant to believe that Mima actually murdered someone, when in reality it was only a nightmare. This relates to geographical context because the animation style originates from Japan, where the film was made. Using animation helps Satoshi Kon with his editing style because it helps with the fast transitions and the quick cuts. He says, "If I had a chance to edit live action, it would be too fast for the audience to follow." The last element that is used in psychological horror films are plot twists. Plot twists make it terrifying since everything is not what it seems, and it surprises viewers. In The Neon Demon, Sarah, Gigi, and Ruby chase Jessie with knives to where she falls in an empty pool. They then eat parts of her body and bathe in her blood. In the beginning, when Ruby introduces Jessie to Sarah and Gigi at a party, Ruby then pulls out her lipstick and asks Jessie, "Are you food or sex?" This dialogue motif helps convey Jessie's fate because as a result of Jessie rejecting Ruby's sexual advances, it led to all three girls to decide to kill her, and she automatically became food. The girls consumed her the way that she was consumed by the fashion industry, letting her ego grow and get to her. This relating to historical context is that Refn mentions how we now live in a time period of a digital revolution, a time that he never grew up in, but his children did, where it explores the insanity of beauty. How many people are captivated by the idea of being beautiful. The fashion host even says, "Beauty isn't everything, it's the only thing." All the models in this film are portrayed as white, tall, and blonde. This falls in the stereotype of how only those types of girls are beautiful. They are obsessed with their looks that they will go to the extent of killing someone just to get rid of competition. While in Perfect Blue, when Mima is in her room, she hallucinates idol Mima wearing a red dress, showing Mima has officially lost it, with the red being displayed on her dress, headband, and curtain. The frame shifts slightly to the right, showing idol Mima's body is now different in the mirror. The camera starts off showing mirror idol Mima's shoes and moves upward to reveal the plot twist that Mima's manager Rumi was the stalker all along, who is behind the Mima's Room blog and all of the deaths that were on set. Rumi is a failed idol and was upset about Mima's choice to drop being an idol and planned to replace her to restore her image. The next scene is also a chase scene, with Rumi trying to wound Mima, but ends up wounding herself. This relates to historical context because during the late 1990s, Japanese idol culture was increasing with larger fan bases. The film is relevant in today's time because it shows the toxic obsession fans have with their idols, just like how J-pop fans do now. The 90s was a decade before social media and considered pre-internet. Perfect Blue was able to predict how the media affects us all, and how it puts a fake persona for someone. In conclusion, both films represent psychological horror films through the harmfulness of the entertainment industry, from their different time periods and locations. The Neon Demon shows narcissism taking control of someone during the modern era of the fashion industry in Hollywood, whereas Perfect Blue reflects on idol obsession causing one to go insane around the lost decade era of Japan.